This episode of the Great Lakes Outdoors podcast is brought to you by
Migrate Ammunition, GK Calls, Gibraltar Boatyard, Point Malay Waterfowl Festival, Gibraltar Duck Hunters Association, Turtle Box. We'd like to give a special thanks to Brian Ellithorpe. Give him a follow on all social media.
We appreciate all the support. Now let's get to the show.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Great Lakes Outdoors podcast. Trav and I are sitting here with our first guest as Trav, as a co-host per se. First, Trav, what's going on?
Dude, I'm just excited to be back on a podcast. You invited me back again, and I'm so happy for it.
Well, I mean, when you pay me like you do, it's pretty easy to pick
Did you
back
get my
up.
Venmo request today?
I did, and I really enjoyed taking money from you. But our guest, returning guest, Ryan from Pattern Pros. Ryan, what's going on, man?
Getting fired up there, bud. Just ready for the big old Thunder Chickens.
It's coming, man. It's coming closer or sooner for you guys down south than us, but it's coming quick.
Week and a half.
We did a show this past weekend, and surprisingly, we were the only call company there, which I was shocked by. But just hearing everybody talk about turkeys and the call, like talk about our new calls that we just dropped, it was I don't know, kind of lit a whole new fire for us.
Oh yeah, dude, it sucks. You know, most of our duck hunting here in South Carolina is pretty rough. So I don't think about ducks all that often, but it's for me it's turkey hunting. As soon as deer season ends, January 1st, I'm like, all right, I'll go shoot a couple wood ducks here and there, but I'm already starting to think about longbeards.
I'm with you. That's, you got to give me a little bit of time for shed hunting and maybe a little bit of time of a cool down, but I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Especially this year, this waterfowl season was a little tougher for us, even though we killed probably the most geese we ever had. It was a hard, dry, not a whole lot of crops around season. It was tough. But you said your waterfowl season wasn't terrible down there?
I mean, I usually, almost every time I went out, we at least shot, one or two. I mean, it's still, just wood ducks. And I did make it out onto some public a couple times with a buddy, but it's pretty frustrating. Even when you see ducks, there's so many former working plantations here that they're like all duck impoundments now. So there's just, some of these guys will have 400 acres planted just for ducks. So like one evening we went out and we saw, 1,000 ducks or whatever it would be, but it was just, they're all taking almost the exact same flight path, just in a straight line. And we got a few strays here and there. And, there'd be pairs of either black ducks or mottled ducks that they were in the area, and they'd get up and you hear them quacking, and they'd come into like maybe 100 yards from you and then just circle and then glide off, and that was it.
They know where they want to go.
Oh yeah, it's frustrating, but it's what it is. So we'll keep shooting deer and filling the freezer and getting some longbeards fired up, and that'll keep me going.
I feel that. Before we get too far into it, for the people that haven't listened to the first one, including Trav, do you want to just kind of talk about what Pattern Pros is, who you guys are, what you guys do, how you guys started, maybe like a quick little recap for everybody?
Yeah. So it started with me and two buddies from the Marine Corps. We were stationed in Camp Pendleton, California together, duck hunted, turkey hunted, deer hunted, dove hunted, hunted everything together. And a few years ago, one of them called me. He had bought a new shotgun and a couple different boxes of shells, went and patterned it. And he's like, dude, they suck. He goes, I'm not taking this hunting. And so right then and there, we kind of came up with a solution of what if we put more than one type of shell in a single box. And so what we came up with for waterfowl is 8 different shells with 3 of each in one box. So 24 shells in a box, just one shy of your normal standard box shells, are really allowing you to try out a ton of different shells without spending a whole lot of money. And with the amount of gun, choke, shell combinations out there, it's just about limitless. There's a new one, there's a new shell or new choke or something. It seems like every week. So, and you just don't know what's going to happen until you pull the trigger, and a lot of people will just say, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter inside 20 and just get them over the decoys. And after doing this enough, 20 yards, I've seen some awful patterns, just awful. And then for the people who say, just get them over the decoys, I'm like, well, if it was only that simple every single time, like
Everybody do it.
yeah, if most people only shot birds that were directly over the decoys or cupped up, most people would either be going home empty-handed or shooting a lot less ducks. So you taking a 30-yard passing shot, that might be your only option. And I promise you, at 30 yards, I've seen a lot of patterns that have completely fallen apart from the 20 to 30-yard line. So it really does make a huge difference in understanding what happens when you pull the trigger. So that all started in 23. January of 23 is when we officially formed the LC, and then February of the following year, we came out with our turkey packs. So for turkey, it's 5 different shells with one of each, and right now we have 12, 20, and 410 shells. So this year, obviously for turkey, it's with TSS prices, things are a little bit different, but still the same concept and just rolling with it.
That has changed a whole lot in the turkey realm of things without the TSS. I mean, Migra has a 410 TSS and the hybrid, obviously, and I'm sure a lot of companies have somewhat similar to those things possibly. I don't know. I haven't really looked too far into it all, but the TSS has changed a lot in the turkey world.
Yeah, so I'm still waiting on one company to get me their lead TSS blend, and then we'll actually be able to launch that. So we'll have 5 different manufacturers of a lead TSS blend. So Migra technically isn't TSS. It's a high density tungsten. It's like 17 plus density. So essentially the same freaking thing.
Right.
But in there we'll have Migra, Epic Shot Shell, Saddies Fatties, Federal Third Degree, and then Salt Creek. So we'll have five different companies in there. It's a really kind of a bargain shell, and if guys can still get their hands on some TSS for next year, I think that they're really going to become super popular. I shot one a few weeks ago, and I think it was only half ounce of TSS. It was like I think a half ounce of number 9s, and then I think the whole load was an ounce of 7/8. So whatever math that is was number 5 lead after that. And I never tried to shoot out to 50, but I just thought, to hell with it, I'm going to try it, and I would have had a dead bird at 50 yards with only half ounce of
Really?
TSS and plus some lead hits at that distance. So it was pretty interesting. It's a real bargain compared to, especially right now with a lot of these manufacturers charging $100+ for a box of 5 of 12 gauge. So it's that'll be really interesting once those become a little bit more popular.
So how did it work when you are you calling these companies when you first started, like, hey, we want to do this, we want to try this out? Like, how did it go? Or were you just going out and buying boxes of shells, stuff in boxes? How'd that work?
So I think the first 2 companies we talked to were Boss and Migra, and they were both super supportive from the get-go. And the way we framed it and the way we continue to frame it is it's marketing for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that they're still making their money, plus we're getting their shells in other people's hands who may not have tried it before. So those are the first 2, and honestly, I can't remember who we started to talk to after that, but it was kind of like what they had said was like, hey, once you bought the shells, essentially they're yours. So you can kind of do with it with your will, but obviously, I want to have the blessing of those companies. So when we went to Nashville there in February of 24, right when we launched the turkeys, I went and spoke with every single ammo manufacturer there. And it was overwhelmed. Everyone that I was actually able to speak to, they were like, this is awesome. Absolutely would love to be a part of it. And they got me set up, and it was such an awesome feeling. I can still picture everything about it. I was I was go like that entire Saturday. And we got back to the hotel room. My wife's like, "Come on, like I gotta go, like come on, we gotta go to dinner." And I was like, I just sat down, I grabbed a beer, slid my boots off, and I was like, first, my feet hurt. I'm going to enjoy this beer, and then we can go. But it was pretty cool because it was like, all right, boys, like we got something here. Like this is gonna be something. And so it's only grown from there, and it was so much more work than I ever thought. So it's like, great to have your own company, but man, there's some days I'm like, I don't want to do anything.
It's tough, man, especially with social media and everything too. On top of it all, I mean, even with our website and stuff, getting shirts out, it's like, man, nobody realizes how much work has to go behind the scenes to make sure everything looks presentable, and there's a lot of behind the scenes that people don't get.
Oh yeah. There'll be times where it's like, all right, hey, I've got a call with this person, a call with that person. I'll be in the car sometimes for 3 hours, and I'll be on the phone pretty much the entire time, just nonstop. And then I'm like, hey, all right, dude, like I gotta go. I'm wherever I'm at now.
Yeah.
So whether it's that or something on the computer or sending out orders, and still being a full time firefighter, I'll come home, and whether it's sometimes we'll have a call late and I won't get hardly any sleep, but it's like I get home and I'm like, I got stuff to do, like crack another energy drink and just freaking roll right into the day. So it's been a lot, but meeting guys like you, it's been a blast, and I can't wait for what we have in store for the future.
That's awesome.
It's got to be tough. I mean, especially for people with these companies, like you said, the shells are so expensive. So what you guys have can give to people that actually realize what you guys are doing is an awesome thing. I mean, like you said, some of these shells are $100 a box. I mean, who really wants to pattern one of those shells and waste, a shell that's what, $15-20 a shell or whatever it is on a five shell
$20 $20 a trigger squeeze. So it's honestly, as the more expensive things get, it makes more and more sense to come and do this. That way, if you go do spend $100 on a box, you're like, I've already shot it out of the setup. Like I don't have to wonder, because like that's the last thing you want is you go spend $100 or $80 on a box, which is cheap on the 12 gauge side, and then you go shoot it and you're like, dude, that is just not what I want.
Right.
And so now you're kind of like, well, crap, I either have to go spend more money on another choke, or you ditch whatever shells you got, and now you got to go try another one. So it's like, I said to somebody the other day, I'm like, same idea, of obviously more to the extreme side. I'm like, if you're going to go buy a truck, you're probably going to go test drive it first. Obviously, truck's a little bit more expensive than a box shotgun shells, but the way things are going, we might be there by next year.
Yeah, you never know.
But I'm like, just why would you not try something out before you actually had the opportunity? And the last thing you want to do is test it out when you're actually out in the woods and you're actually hunting. I don't know, I've never shot this thing before, and you're like, even with TSS, dude, I've seen some patterns. You're like, that ain't gonna get it done. Or sometimes it's the other way, and it's too tight, and you're like, well, that bird came into 15 yards, and you're shooting a slug at his head.
Right.
And he decided to, bob his head at that last second as he pulled the trigger, and he's gone.
That's one thing you always wonder. Like, I remember the first time we talked, I never really patterned my gun. This past turkey season was the first time I actually did about that 410 and patterned that, and it had a whole nother level of confidence for me and the people that were using that gun. And you always wonder too, like you said, what is that pattern actually doing? And am I missing that bird that bad? And it could go for ducks and geese and turkeys, obviously. But am I missing that bird that bad, or am I jumping the shot, or is it just the pattern? Is it something a lot more simple than I'm thinking it is?
Well, and a lot of the time it's not even. It could be potentially, it could be an awesome pattern, but for whatever reason, the way that shell or that wad comes out of your choke, maybe that whatever shell that is, it's going to have a different point of aim, or it's going to have a different point of impact compared to your point of aim.
Mm-hmm.
I had a buddy. He a few years ago, he said he had, his buddy was absolutely smoking birds, but he's like, dude, like, what choke is that? And he went and bought that choke, and then like the next day went and tried it out, and he's like, dude, I couldn't hit anything. He's like, we had like a stellar day, and I was whiffing. And then he said, like, the hunt was done, he hadn't killed anything, and he shot like an old decoy, and was like 18 inches low. And so it's just like you wasted, those are the days like you wasted all of your opportunities, you wasted all of that time, all the money you spent on the shells. Like, no one wants to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever the hell it'll be,
Right.
and then you go out there and you're like, well, I had a great opportunity and just that sucked.
Look at the Benelli alone. The Benelli is like known to shoot high. I mean, everybody seems like they know that the Benelli's shooting high. So I mean, you got a choke in your gun, plus the ammo that you're using that could potentially be shooting that much higher than you already think the gun's shooting. Or maybe that Benelli's not shooting higher than everybody's saying, but you're aiming a little higher just because it's already in your head. I mean, that's a huge confidence thing right there in itself.
It's the confidence that you know exactly what that's going to be capable of, what is going to happen when you pull a trigger. There's just so many other factors with it. It's just, it is, so many people don't pattern their guns, and then you've got the other people, which I've seen a lot, they're trying to make their patterns so tight.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they just want to have, I don't know if it's the splatter target effect, where they're like, they love to see the splatter, and they're like, let's put 400 BBs, at 40 yards in that little tiny 10-inch circle, which is, I mean, if you're that confident that you're going to have that bird at 40 yards, then, I mean, I guess that's great, but at the same time, it's...
Bird better not move.
Yeah, that better not move. Like, I like a little bit more open pattern. And, the setup that I have, I killed a bird at 40 yards last year, which is really as far as I want to kill. Like, I like them up close and personal. It just,
For sure.
That's what turkey hunting's about. I don't want to shoot a bird. I'm not going to shoot a bird at 60 yards. Just, that's not exciting.
I'm with you.
Even though I had to shoot one at 60 yards last year because it was running away because I missed it the first time.
Well, see, so there's another example of, all right, you patterned, and so you made your shot, and now, yes, you might be able to have to make that shot. So if you patterned, you're like, hey, I don't want to have to take this long shot, but now I know that, hey, maybe I hit that bird and he's crippled, he's going to go off and die. Now you take that follow-up shot, and you're like, hey, I can kill him at that distance, which is obviously in the waterfowl world is far more prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously right there in the turkey world, like, you just never know. You got to know what's going to happen when you pull a trigger.
That's for sure. I mean, it's something that every hunter, that goes out there should be aware, right? I mean, it's kind of their duty to the goal is to take that animal as quickly as possible and as ethically as possible. So, I mean, to know your pattern, I feel like it's very important to, just the game itself.
I mean, it's kind of crazy to think too. Like, you think for bow hunting with deer or rifles, like, you're shooting your gun, you're shooting your bow constantly, and then it's with turkeys and waterfowl, it's like you just grab your gun off the shelf, put a choke in it, and think you're good to go. So it's kind of crazy to think that different perspective between those animals, and the way you train and do that,
Yeah, it is wild to me. I'm like, well, I ask people, I'm like, hey, do you pattern your gun? And a lot of times they'll say, well, my turkey gun. I'm like, well, why not your duck gun? And there's never a good answer.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, Travis, exactly what you just said, I'm like, well, if you deer hunt, with a bow or rifle or elk, whatever it is, I was like, you're not just going to show up opening morning. You're like, I don't know, I haven't shot this thing in a year. Who knows what's going to happen? Like, why would you not go out and just ensure that that thing is dialed in for you to have success?
Mm-hmm.
So, while we're on that topic, something that we're actually coming out with this year is actually a rifle pack.
Oh, wow.
So Yeah, it's going to be 4 different manufacturers with 5 of each shell in a single box. And I saw it, firsthand a few years ago where, I was zeroing my kid's rifle and it was like 8 inches low center. And I was like, all right, next shot was like 6 inches high right of center. And I was like, oh, that's
Wow.
and like took it down, torqued it back down, like loosened it up, torqued it down to specs. Like my brother-in-law's got all the correct tools for it. And it was like, all right, like torqued it down, we're good. Put it back in the tripod, and the next 2 shots was literally the exact same group. And he's like, all right, stop shooting. That's a waste. He goes, that gun does not like that shell. And I went and got a new box shells the next day, and at like 50 yards, I think I had 3 holes touching. So it's just like, it's the exact same thing. And the rifle side is obviously there's going to be a learning curve there, but it's the same concept where for whatever reason, that twist rate or that grain bullet, it doesn't agree with that rifle. So we're going to have start out with 5 different calibers, 5 or 6. I haven't quite narrowed it down yet, but most likely, well, we've already got some of the ammo, but it'll be 308, 270, 30-06, 6.5 Creedmoor, and then it'll either be 300 Win Mag and or 243 to start. And,
That's crazy. I never really realized, I guess, like for rifles liking a type of ammo. I guess I never really even thought about that. I guess probably like most hunters, you probably just think you could buy. Like for us, we're using 350 or 450 for deer hunting per se up here. You feel like you could just throw any kind of 450 shell in there and it'd probably be similar unless the grain's different, obviously. But
yeah, you're like, oh, it's all the same. It's my caliber.
Yeah, I never really thought about that for rifles.
It's so I watched a friend when I was still in the Marine Corps, and he had done. I don't remember what caliber his rifle was. I think it was a 6.5 Creedmoor. He had done hand loads, and he was going all the way down to like, it was like, hey, this one's 53 grains of powder, and this one's 55. And I'm like, dude, like that is so minuscule, but like sure enough, like the point of impact was like probably 6 inches different.
Really?
And it was different. Everything about it was, the grouping was a little bit different, and the point of impact was different.
Wow.
And it was like that is so minuscule that you're like, dude, like that just is that is insane for that amount. And everything else were the exact same components. So now you're going to different manufacturers who, they're going to have a different primer, different powder. Maybe that projectile is made a little bit different or a different material. You're just talking about so many different factors that, for whatever reason, again, that your setup is going to like or not like. And again,
do you think the powder is probably one of the biggest things that like the type of powder would be the biggest?
I don't know. I was talking with Ben Myers from Flight Day Ammunition Today, and he was talking about like the powder is a huge factor. And it seems like a lot of time you can get similar results with different powders, but you have other factors where it's like you're going to get significant more recoil with one is going to be significantly dirtier than the other. So there's different factors, and I'm sure some of those are going to be more consistent powders, which is going to lead to greater accuracy. But as far as like what is behind that and what creates that, that's freaking mad scientist stuff that I'm not that smart yet. Probably, I don't know why I said yet. I'm just not going to be that smart.
I'm just going to stick to my grilled cheese sandwiches over here, making them at night. He just started making those, about 2 years ago or so? His shells, his company?
What, Flight Day?
Yeah.
Yeah. 2.5 years ago, I think. And so when he started, it was it was me all bismuth, and then he like got like 1 year into it, and the bismuth world was like, nope, see you later.
Yeah.
So he had to completely pivot, and he's doing steel stuff now. I think he's doing some custom loads for some guys here and there, like some of the other smaller companies. I know that they're not mass producing bismuth and like they once were. So I know there's still some of those guys are still doing custom orders where somebody will call me, hey, I don't care what it costs, like this is what I want. And they're like, all right, dude.
Yeah, I mean, which is cool that a company does that too. I mean, I've seen some of the guys that have their grandpa's gun or whatever, and then they can only shoot this size shell, and you know, it's cool to have a company out there that is able to give them that shell to be able to use that gun again.
Oh yeah. It's cool with like so many of these guys they'll have a low recoil option and all kinds of different things, and that's a lot of math and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's way above my pay grade there. Brad better start Venmoing me some more money, that's for sure.
So I'm wondering on like the rifles and like with turkeys, like, so a lot of people are using scopes, right? With your deer rifles and turkeys now. How, I guess, like if my bullet's dropping at a certain distance, right, you can just adjust that scope. So how does, say, like, I'm trying to think of the right word for it. Like, can't when you say you can't just adjust your scope for that shell, or are you just talking just straight bore sight shots?
So like the 243, that was my kids that we were trying to zero. Like there was nothing that you could have done on that optic that would have allowed it to. It's such a big disparity that you're like, there's nothing that I can do there. There's no consistency. And we had made sure that the scope was fine. There was nothing wrong with the scope. There was nothing wrong with the rings. And at that point, it's just the ammo. So my last 2+ years in the Marine Corps, I was an instructor on the rifle range for recruits going through boot camp. So I got to shoot an absolute ton. And first, one of the most satisfying things was, sir, I think there's something wrong with my rifle. And then you shoot like a 5-round group, and they'd all be in like a 6-inch circle at freaking 200 yards. Like, no, you just suck. Like, go back, go away. So there's a lot of different things that you can start to see, but in order for that to know that scope is still fine, is if it's got a group, the scope is probably fine. You may have an issue with scope rings. I had an issue a couple years ago where I would zero it, and I'd have a good group, and then I'd go out and I'd miss a deer. I'm like, what the heck? And then I'd go, confirm my zero, and I'd be off by like 6 inches at 50 yards. So that was a scope issue, but it's just one of those things that you gotta go do and see if that's actually going to be the issue. Where if that could have been a scope issue, for the 243 there, but obviously when I went back the following day and put a freaking 1/4-inch grouping together, I knew that it wasn't the scope, it wasn't the rifle, it was literally just that ammo just did not agree with it. And like some rounds they may need a less of a twist rate or more. I don't. That's kind of that's one of those things that I still have a lot to learn with it. But I think it's like a lot of twist rates for. I think our M4s were like 1 in, I don't say 1 in 8. So it's like they do one full like rotation for every 8 inches of the barrel. I think is what it was. Somebody will probably freaking comment on that and be like, no, you're an idiot. I'm like, yeah, well, fair enough, but it's somewhere along those lines.
That, or we're just going to realize like how much more there is to it than everybody thinks, besides just throwing a shell in the gun and shooting.
The rifle, there is a lot. Like it really is a lot. So that'll be a fun endeavor, but that's kind of one of the cool things about what we're doing is, like, I don't necessarily need to know every little bit of that. It is, I am allowing people to just go try it out and with their own eyes witness actually what's going to happen for their setup. And a lot of guys, they could have the same choke, the same gun as their buddy, and for whatever reason, maybe that gun was made in a different factory, or it got torqued down to different specs, or that their choke tube is a little bit more worn down, and you'll have somebody be like, dude, like that shell shot great for me, and then the guy next to him is like, that shell sucked. You're like, I don't know why that is. You can do all kinds of research on the internet and Facebook and whatever other places you can do research on it, and those are excellent starting points. You're like, all right, hey, maybe I've got like 5 or 6 different options that, hey, those look like they're gonna perform well, but until you actually go pull the trigger, it's promise you, like, people will be surprised whenever they go pattern, because you're like, oh, that one's gonna be great, and you're like, dude, that one sucked. And it's gonna be the same thing with rifle. We're like, dude, I've been shooting that for a long time, and then you look at it and you're like, dude, that grouping sucks. Like, you probably have missed deer because you're grouping at 300 yards is trash. Like, getting away with a close shot at 50 to 100 yards is one thing, but as soon as you start to push that envelope a little bit farther, that grouping starts to get larger and larger. So it's going to be a fun and wild ride, but I can't wait for it. So luckily, I know quite a few people that are absolute gun nuts and are like mad scientists when it comes to that stuff. Like my buddy who's messing around with 55 to 53 grains of powder. I call him and be like, I need to know about this stuff. And then I'm like, you're going to have to really dumb it down for me, though.
Yeah. Draw it in crayon for me. Let's start with that. Just circles and squares and triangles. Let's just go from there.
Yes. Coloring book, like.
And expect me to draw outside the lines. Let me just say that.
Oh yeah, it was never. Yeah, coloring was never a good thing. It's a lot of scribbles.
Yeah. Trav, I feel like you got some questions on your brain.
No, I've bloated with questions right now. It's really an interesting product, right? And I guess one of the questions that I have is, so like when I was looking through it, it's like it's limited one, like for turkeys, you get 5 shells, right?
Yeah.
It's limited one of each certain type of shell.
Yep.
Is there a reason for that? Like, so maybe I have 2 different chokes or a couple different, like 2 different guns I want to use that shell for.
That's just kind of the easiest way for us to do it. One of the things was I didn't want people to necessarily like some of the smaller manufacturers that a lot of people, maybe a lot of people I haven't heard of. I don't want them to get overlooked. One, because I love the small company. I think a lot of the time the small company can absolutely outperform the big guy. They're smaller. There's a lot more quality control when it comes down to it. So that was one of the things I'm like, all right, I want people to be able to try out all of these brands, and they're like, hey, I recognize 3 out of 5 of those brands. They're like, 2 of those are like I've never heard of, and then it's great when I get a message like, dude, like I tried this thing out and you're like, I hadn't even heard of those guys before. I never even heard of that shell. I hadn't heard of that, and that was the best one for me. So one of the, those things is trying to get people out of their own way, and allowing them to try something else instead of like, dude, I saw those, in Walmart yesterday. So Walmart obviously knows what they're talking about, and I'm only going to buy the shells that I see on their shelves. So, but something that I got more and more questions about this year, and we actually we did come out with it I think it was last week, for 12 gauge, was a custom pack. So you can choose. I think we got 12 different options. I had a couple of shells that were overstocked, and so you can choose any of those 12 and put five different ones, whatever you want, and build it out that way. So that just allows people. You're still only doing one, but I was like, all right, this way people are still being able to pick. They're being able to pick exactly what they want instead of whatever is already in that pack, which is something a lot of people asked about. But we had a little bit more stock this year, so it was easier for us to do that, at least for 12 gauge. The 20 gauge stuff, the sub gauge stuff just flies off the shelf typically.
Just the
But
subgauge, I feel like is insane lately. It's like taking over the turkey world. I feel like.
oh yeah, it's been kind of cool just to see that over the last couple of years with Bismuth and TSS like absolutely becoming king. But now it's going to kind of revert back. Either that, or you're just going to be you're just going to be more limited, which honestly, for a lot of people, I think will be really good. It's going to force them to take closer shots and be more responsible with a lot of the shots instead of like, dude, screw it. I've got 3.5-inch TSS number 9s, 2.5 ounces. You're like, screw it. I'm going to send it. Which if that's what you want to do anyways, and to each their own, but a lot of people shooting 20 gauge, if you're shooting lead, you're definitely going to be a little bit more limited.
Do they make that 3.5 TSS, or did they make that?
Yeah, I actually sent out a 3.5-inch TSS pack today.
Did you really? Man, I didn't really. I mean, I feel like you could probably shoot one at 400 yards with 3.5-inch shells. I mean, that's insane if you think about it. I thought it was just 3-inch for some odd reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, some guys still like to shoot 3.5s, and I mean, if that's what they want to do, like if your shoulder can take it and your wallet can take it, like people say, maybe it doesn't pattern as good as a smaller shell, but if you're just wanting that many more freaking BBs in your pattern, freaking go for it, dude. Like, but.
I don't know.
That kind of hurts my shoulder just thinking about it.
Yeah. I mean, I shot mine with a 410 last year, and I thought that pattern was pretty good, even up to like 30 yards. I shot mine, I think, 15, 20 yards, whatever it was.
I love the 410.
Dude, it was my first time doing it last year, running around with that. And me and my buddy actually doubled up with both of our 410s. And I don't know, it was just a different experience, I guess.
It feels like a toy.
It does. It doesn't even feel like you should be able to kill a bird at like any distance, to be honest with you. There were some guys around, like local guys, that they're saying that they shoot up to 70 yards with the 410s, which I would never do, obviously.
Dude, I can't even. That would be.
I don't know. Some people in their mindset with turkey hunting, I guess it kind of goes back to like the patterning, though. I mean, I wonder if they ever even pattern their gun at that.
Probably one, almost certainly not. But two, that is the other thing why it's important to pattern is it shows you what is going to happen at those distances and actually how far that is.
Right.
Like I step out to 40 yards when I pattern, and like on our targets, it's like a 1-inch black dot, 3 foot by 3 foot. 3 foot by 3 foot brown craft paper with a 1-inch black dot in the center, and I've got very, very good vision. And when I get out to 40 yards, I'm like, damn, that's a long ways. And then even I put out a couple turkey patterning targets the other day at 40 yards, and it's a long ways. I think so many people overestimate how far it is. They're like, dude, I killed one at 90 yards. I'm like, I don't think you understand how far that is. Like, I really don't think you do. Not saying it hasn't been done or it can't be done. One, you should not be shooting a turkey at 90 yards.
I think it's the same guys that have like, oh, I got 4,000 geese in my field right now, and you get to the field and there's like 200 or something like that.
Yeah, you're like, you need to learn how to count, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm drawing with crayons here, but yeah, I mean, this isn't good.
Are you using bore sights or are you using a scope when you're turkey hunting?
I am old school. I have a good old 870 Express with nothing on top. Just the good old factory bead on there and send it.
The old
which is funny because I see so many different pattern tests, and so a huge portion of the time that 870 still out patterns everybody else. So when people, I saw somebody the other day like, well, what's a good turkey gun for under like $400? I'm like, dude, go get an 870. Like, yeah, it's heavy, but it's
Yeah.
freaking durable. You're gonna have it probably the rest of your life. Like there's nothing wrong with it.
I mean,
That was my duck gun before it was my turkey gun. Like, and I killed a ton of ducks with just a factory modified.
especially if like people like later in the, like later on in their life, like that are getting into hunting. I mean, you don't need to have no fancy, semi-auto gun. Just go like you said, buy an 870 just to get used to it. See if you even like going out there hunting wise. Don't go buy something crazy for $2,000 or whatever when you don't even know what's going on out there.
Yeah, so many guys, it's like they see all these things on YouTube or Facebook, and they're like, I gotta go get this, and this, and I'm like, dude, like, go to your freaking pawn shop and grab some stuff, and then go out there, and it's gonna that way, God forbid you decide you don't like it, you're not $3,000 deep in the freaking hole, which I see all the time. People are like, I'm selling all of my stuff, and you're like, dude.
That's not a bad thing for us looking into it, because I mean they're probably selling for a lot cheaper, so it's good for us to be able to buy.
It's good on the Facebook Marketplace, but
right. So I mean,
not for good for their wallets.
Right. So I mean, I guess at that point, yeah, keep buying that stuff so we can buy it for the cheaper rate. You guys go out there one time, use it. What else you got, Trev?
I guess someone who is a novice, like we talked a lot about patterning. Like when you're, say, I'm starting out into turkey hunting, into deer hunting, what are some tips and tricks you would recommend people who are just going out to start patterning their gun for the first time?
All right, so if you have an optic, start really close. Like hell, even if, so like on the rifle side of it, start at 25 yards. As dumb as that sounds, like I've seen it and I've done it where I'm like, I start at 50 or 100 yards. I'm like, this thing's fine. And then you shoot and you're off. Like you're like, something was off there. So a lot of guys turkey hunt with a red dot. Start up close. Don't use your freaking TSS load to be sighting in. Unless you're just made of money and you don't care. I guess go for it. Start close. So on the patterning side, a lot of guys like to pattern their turkey loads, especially TSS, at 40 yards. I'm not sure why that was the ideal distance. That just seems to be the go-to. So on the waterfowl side, the reason that we put 3 shells in there is ideally you want to shoot at 20, 30, and 40 yards, your most common shot distances. So we, with our target pack, it comes with 25 targets, our box comes with 24 shells. So the reason being is so that, 1-inch black dots right there in the center, whatever shell you have been hunting with, or whatever, you bought a new gun, whatever shell you've got in your safe or whatever, go figure out your point. You're going to see your point of impact. So that first target you're going to shoot, and a lot of guns, like what you're talking about earlier, like the Benellis, they shoot high.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to determine where your point of impact is actually going to be. So that first target, all right, hey, I know on paper I'm 6 inches high of center. From there, you can either take that and aim 6 inches lower. That way you're hitting more of the actual center of the paper. Or what you're supposed to do is when you shoot, you're not going to draw a 30-inch circle prior to pulling the trigger. You are going to pull the trigger, and then with your pattern, you're going to find the center of the most dense part of your pattern, and then actually draw your circle around that. And that also allows you now to actually go shim your gun. So a lot of people, if you don't know what shim is, like a little piece of plastic that you can slide into like where your stock and receiver meet, and that can actually change your point of impact. But yeah. And then, I'm trying to think of what other mistakes that a lot of people make. I like to shoot. Some people like to freehand it when they're patterned. I really don't like that. I like to know that I didn't flinch. I didn't pull a shot. I want to know what the gun, choke, shell combination is doing, not what I'm doing. Right. I want it to be as even as possible across the board. So if I'm shooting, 5 turkey loads, I pull the trigger as close to that freaking center of that target as possible. And then same thing with, I'm shooting 24 waterfowl loads. I know that I'm like, well, crap, I pulled that one real bad. And now half that at 40 yards, half that pattern's off the paper, and I can't really tell what the rest of it was doing.
So you're putting that on a gun rest and you're shooting it like that, not like
Yeah.
turkey
So
hunting. You're sitting against the barn and shooting it off your leg. Like you're
yeah.
putting it on a rest. And okay.
So I typically use I've got like the bog death grip tripod, and if I'm really trying to dial it in, that's what I'm doing. One, it's a little bit easier on your shoulder, and two, it is rock solid. I'm not moving. If I do move a little bit, it's only going to be by just small margins compared to crap. I flinched and I pushed that freaking barrel, and that center of that pattern is super low or high or whatever direction it would be. But I absolutely recommend, if you've got a steady tripod, using that. If you've got a sled, use that. So there's a lot of little things like that where people just kind of wing it. But I recommend being as steady as possible when you go out and actually pattern.
Have you thought about like doing like I don't know, book's the wrong, like a pamphlet, like where if you're like, I don't know how many chokes you've tested with this ammo, with this gun, like have you been trying different ammos with different guns with different chokes to where you could like say, here, this is what I recommend with this gun, this ammo, this choke type of thing?
So no, but one of the other things that we're kind of this year, and Kyle, I think I talked to you about it.
Yeah.
Is actually a choke tube pack. So it'll be a rental pack of 3 choke tubes, all in the same constriction, and we'll send that to you for it'll be like a little rental fee, and then you'll have a certain amount of time to actually shoot those chokes with whatever shell you've gone with, or one of our pattern packs that we'll obviously put a package deal together for it, and then whatever one patterned best for you, we'll give you a discount off of the retail price. You'll keep that and then send us back the other 2. That way, that choke's already in your gun. You've already shot it with the shell you want. You've already tried it all.
Yeah.
So we're making it where the amount of guesswork is going to be less and less and less, allowing you to actually go out and truly be dialed in. Like I tell people, I'm like, I can't necessarily make you a better shot. You need to go actually practice for that. You may still suck. I can't always help that. However, if you go do practice some, like almost immediately, you are going to become more effective because you're actually going to have a combination that is setting you up for success, instead of just like, I don't know, dude, I got this gun yesterday and I bought a box of shells and let's freaking do it. And I've talked with a bunch of guides and outfitters who are like, dude, we couldn't tell you how many times guys have showed up to the lodge like the night before and the gun's still in the freaking box. Like, dude, there's packing grease on. Like, there's so many things that you should have done before that. But that's the other thing is, you going out and patterning, in the preseason, or hell, you could do it in the middle of the season. It doesn't take a whole lot of time, but the benefits about doing it in the preseason is you're practicing a little bit. You're at least getting some of that muscle memory, which I made a post on that today about going and just shooting. And I got to pull the trigger so many times in the Marine Corps. I mean, tens of thousands of times, like literally, easily that amount. I kind of took it for granted because I'm just like, dude, I'm rock solid. Like I pulled the trigger so many times that I don't even think about it. And then, when I get out, now I've got to buy my own freaking ammo instead of Uncle Sam handing me, however many rounds of ammo a year. You kind of lose some of it. So you're not as steady. You're not pulling that trigger smooth. So that's another added benefit about you going out and patterning. One, you're like, all right, I don't want to be pulling the trigger for the first time that year on whether it's a deer, turkey, duck, dove, pheasant, whatever it is. You are going to a practice prior to game time.
Yeah.
Do you find like I don't know, obviously, is like each gun, like even if it's the same brand, model, everything could possibly shoot different than the next one? Or are they all kind of similar?
No, so you're talking about like this, like the exact same gun, like you and me each had a freaking, the same model.
So I got a Super Black Eagle 3, but like my buddy's got one. Are they going to shoot similar, or are they, because like your buddy can recommend you. I've done it plenty of times myself where I recommended friends, like, I have this gun with this choke tube and I love it that way. Do you find it to be off on some guns compared to others?
So I haven't seen it in person, but I've talked to a lot of people that has happened, where them and a buddy literally have the exact same setup, and they shot the same shell, and they're like, dude, like that one was great out of mine, that one was not. And so my buddy Brody, he broke it down for me, where it's like I would have never even thought about it, but he's like, that gun, maybe those two guns were made in different factories where they were using, hell, they could have been using different tools. So maybe that one got torqued down to a slightly different spec than the other. And for some people, like that won't make any difference. Like, but then you look at the constriction of chokes. So like my turkey choke is, I think it's a 665. And then that can throw a completely different pattern than, a 660. And you're like, dude, that's 5/100ths of an inch.
Right.
So you're talking about such little tiny things that can potentially make a huge difference. So, maybe that gun was put together by just the tiniest little amounts. And for whatever reason, when that explosion goes off, because that's what's happening when you pull the freaking trigger, there is something happening there that is different than your buddy's gun, which is it's wild to think about. But I've heard so many stories, people telling me like face to face, like, dude, that's what happened.
Sense.
It is crazy when you think about it, that it is so small, but it can make a huge difference.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. I mean, look at the grain that you were talking about earlier with your buddy. I mean, that little bit of a difference is huge.
It makes all the difference in the world.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Never mind. I'm not going to say that. I was just going to. Never mind. You're going to get me in trouble here.
Do it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was just saying. I mean, 2 inches of snow is a lot of snow. That's a lot of snow. That's all I can say. Right? I mean, that's a lot. You don't want to be driving in 2 inches of snow.
No, especially not here in South Carolina. People lose their freaking minds.
So everybody else that tells you 2 inches isn't a lot, they're lying to you.
I tell the wife that all the time. So, I'm looking at some stuff here at my feet. I already hit on the rifle stuff and the choke tube stuff, but we also have upland packs coming out this year.
Oh, that's good.
So we'll have a designated pheasant box, and then designated dove box, which I'm sure would probably double as a guys who go there and shoot quail.
Yeah, no, that's good.
It'll be the same model as waterfowl, 8 different brands with 3 of each. So it's I'm excited for that, and it's another venture in another realm. So I'm excited to kind of start breaking into some of those other spots of the sport, and it's going to be fun. But I've already talked with a handful of people who are, dude, I can't wait for that. And there's a handful. There's not even a handful, dude. There's so many other things that I can't wait to break into, that I've already put together in my mind. And I drive Christian, my partner, freaking nuts with stuff. I'm like, dude, this is what we're freaking doing next. He's like, dude, like, how about we just like get this other thing going first? So I'm like, no, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
You can't slow down, man. Once you lay off the gas a little bit, it's gonna pass you up.
Oh yeah, and I'm like, there's just so many things that I'm like, that same model is used somewhere else in life, and they're extremely successful. So there's no reason that I can't take that same model and apply it to the hunting world, and people are gonna do it.
Right.
So I can't wait for it.
I mean, that's good.
Have you thought about doing like muzzleloaders with different? Okay.
And dude, like eventually it will be every aspect of it where I'm like, you won't have to know, you won't have to guess, you won't have to go spend that money to figure out what actually is going to be best. It's going to be a one-stop shop, and let's freaking roll.
That's all. Like that's us. Like because there's so many different like you think buckshot, muzzleloader, stuff like that, where there's different brands of ammunition, all the different guns and stuff like that. Like you're gonna
I
have
think
your goal is to have every single like it's the one like you go on like I want to shoot buckshot this year, so I'm gonna have this option for that or a muzzleloader. That's your
yeah.
plan.
The buckshot may actually come out this year too, just because we can do that super cheap. Well, relatively super cheap. It's just like everything else that I've done. I'm like, oh, we can do that super easy, and then you're like, to go buy like the actual boxes for that we put our stuff in, like you're like, oh, that's a lot. That's a lot more money, and then you're like, oh, cool, we got to get that design. You're like, that's that much money,
It's
and then in
pro-
order in order to get a good discount, like a good price on your box design, some people were quoting us like $5 or $6 for a box, like just like one of our custom boxes, and it was like, dude, that is absurd. You're like, yeah, just order 10,000 of them. I'm like, yeah, like let me start my OnlyFans real quick, and I'll pay for it. Like,
and make 30 cents a month on it.
yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I got a good mustache. That might pay
I was-
$1.
That was wrong for me to say that. That was wrong. So
Only stashes.
yeah, that was wrong for me to assume that 30 cents was.
Have you thought about doing arrows yet, or like broadheads? Has that crossed your mind at all?
I mean, Travis, why don't you just put that out for the entire world?
You told me full send. You told me full send.
Yeah. It's coming. It's coming. It is all
That's
coming.
exciting.
I've already walked through freaking stores and looked at all that kind of stuff, and I've already talked with probably half dozen people about that side of it, and just trying to determine exactly what aspect of that world that will start with. But yeah, there's so many things that this will evolve into. The goal is eventually to have a store where people can actually come in and potentially try some of that stuff out, and then have all of those packs, whatever game you're chasing, available. It's a lot, but the amount of strides that we've made is it's a lot. But next year, so 2027 is going to be a big year for us, just because of all of the things that we are releasing this year. Will get established this year, and then I think we'll have somewhere between 4 to 6 shows is the goal next year. With we've got the Delta Expo, which isn't too far from you guys, I don't think. How far is Des Moines from you guys?
Where was it? Iowa, right?
Yeah.
6-7 hours, I think, or something like that.
Not terrible.
Okay. So yeah, we've got that one, and then depending on where the show is the following year, we'll either go to Delta again, which will be this year's the third year we've gone to it. So we'll either do Delta again next year and or Ducks. I heard the Duck show in Memphis last year was phenomenal. So we'll see about that, and then we've got a show. I think it's in August in North Carolina. And so next year, hopefully it'll be NWTF and then Ducks, Delta, the 1 or 2 shows there in North Carolina, one here in South Carolina. It's going to be a lot. It's just me and Christian plus the wives. We've enlisted them to help us run the booths and start do some stuff. And my wife is constantly like, "Oh, I found new shelves for the booth this year." So we're expanding from the straight 10x10 booth to the 10x20 booth this coming year. So we had to have all kinds of other stuff. And I'm like, woman, I don't know, just you are smarter than me. It's just you figure it out, and I'll foot the bill.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot, but the shows are so much fun, but it's a lot, dude. Like leaving those shows after a few days, I'm smoked.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, this past weekend,
Yeah.
it was so I got into town Friday. It was right next to Trav. I mean, I don't want to say right next to Trav's house. It was a half hour from his house, but the show was a 4-day show. Paul, that was there with us, was there all 4 days. I think the first day was 1 to 8, and then it went to noon to 8 on Friday. Saturday, I was there to 10 to 8, and then Sunday was 10 to 5. So it was just it was long. I enjoy it, so to be honest with you, yes, it is long, but I enjoy talking to everybody, man. Just getting to meet more people and I don't know, just hearing some stories and stuff. Some stories that I don't know, if you kind of wish people would kind of walk away sooner, but it's a good time either way.
What show was that?
It was the what was it, Ultimate Sportsman's show?
Ultimate Sports Show, yeah.
Okay.
So
Dude,
it was a good time.
There's so many shows that like you just I can't wait to be able to do more. But like when there's just two of us, really,
It's tough.
apparently it's frowned upon to just leave your kids at home and fend for themselves.
You just bring them with, right?
No, God, no. No. Like they're always like, they're 9 and 8, and they're always like, Dad, like when can we go? I'm like, like when you can walk around that arena or whatever the heck, and like on your own, and I feel fine, then sure. But I was like, until then, not a chance.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you're going out afterwards anyway, so you're like, I can't I can't do that. But I mean the drive to Oklahoma City last year, I think from here was 16 hours.
Man.
Just Christian and I. So it's we call. We're not the only time we're stopping is gas, food, and really that's about it. We freaking blew a U-Haul tire on the way back, so that was that.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Yeah, we were like in a perfect spot. Like I think we were there for like maybe an hour at most. The guy was not far away, so we were able to get out of there pretty quick.
That's good.
But it still freaking sucked.
I think with the trailer that you're hauling across, X amount of hours is just scary. So it's nerve wracking.
Oh yeah. So it's I can't wait to start doing more shows and especially for us because nobody else has ever done what we're doing. So it's we're still introducing the product to the majority of people. Some people are like, dude, I've heard of you, like, but for the most part, people look at you, they're like, you're doing what? And they just have no clue. So putting us in front of other people and getting that face-to-face reaction for us is huge, just because it's not like, oh, it's another decoy. They're like, oh, I'll buy a dozen decoys.
Right.
It's like, there's so many people who are just absolutely just taken back with what we're doing.
Are you guys in any retail stores or anything, like any shops that like where people could find you?
We've got a couple that we're talking with right now, and actually had a old buddy from when I was stationed back in California. We used to duck hunt. He just actually bought a gun and bow shop here in South Carolina, so we'll be on his shelves this year, and then we're actually going up to a turkey challenge here in 4 weeks, I think, in North Carolina. One or two of those guys, I think is going to have us on there either this year or next year. So that's a big goal for this year is to get that on shelves, and it's still just one of those things that people are just like kind of taken back, that they're just not quite sure how to take it. And then once you start to explain it, they're like, "Holy crap!" Like,
why have we done this before? Yeah,
exactly. So many people are like, "Why haven't I done that before?" Yeah. So it's a pretty funny reaction when we actually tell people and explain like what's going on, which is another reason why I love the shows, because I actually get to show them in person instead of just telling them on freaking Facebook or whatever the heck it is.
Right.
And it's just some people like. I'll stop them and like, hey, this is what we're doing. They're kind of speechless for a second, and they're like, dude, yeah, like give me one of those.
Since, I mean, especially when you get to talk to people, I mean, the more you put it in front of people's faces, it's stupid for them not to, go all in on it.
Yeah, it is always such a fun thing. But dude, those show, I've got it, pretty well figured out now. Where first thing in the morning when I get to the shows, it's going to be caffeine and some hydration.
Yeah, 100%.
And then maybe about 2 or 3 o'clock, I'm like, all right, time for a little whiskey. And you gotta wet the whistle, and you're talking to so many freaking people. You're like, all right, like I need to kind of get this whiskey in me to help out a little bit.
Right.
And then you get done. You're like, all right, well, I guess we'll eat dinner, and then we're gonna go out to one of these events and then start over.
Yeah.
And you do that for freaking 3 days in a row. And like when Christian and I got to Oklahoma City, we each had slept for maybe like 2 hours. Like we just drove like nonstop. And we got there, and you're like, you're good, and you start setting up. You're like, all right, like we're good, and you start to freaking crash. We started to crash, and I was like, dude, like I'm hurting. And we went and grabbed lunch. And I was like, all right, we each had like 2 beers, and the wives were getting in. They were flying in, a few hours later, and we had told them, I was like, hey, we need to actually get some sleep. Like, so they each like showed up at the hotel, and I guess both of us like exact same thing, like TV off, like the freaking blinds are shut, like it was pitch black in there, and it was just like we were in a different freaking realm.
I believe it. Of life.
Oh man.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, it was like she goes, babe, and I'm like, oh my god, like leave me alone. I can sleep for 12 more hours. Like, not yet. I don't want to go to school.
Yeah.
I believe.
Oh man.
Well-
But yeah, so next year's gonna be big. There's gonna be a lot of miles on the a lot of miles put on the tires.
That's
But
good.
there's yeah. So we got all these things that we talked about coming out this year, and hopefully for next year there'll, like I've already hit on, there's more things to be had that are already in the works. Just actually implementing it is a different story. But working on a new website, and once that gets up, it'll kind of allow us to do some other stuff. And
Hold on. Did the recording stop, Trav?
No.
For me, it stopped for some reason. Okay.
I think we're good.
For whatever reason, because I had to unplug my phone, it was about to die, to be honest with you. But it stopped for a second. It said, "Can you guys hear me still?"
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know what happened there. Okay.
Can't take you anywhere.
I know. Apparently not.
This is what I deal with, Ryan. This is what I deal with.
Yeah, a lot. But where can people find you at, though?
Yeah. So Facebook is Pattern Pros USA, Instagram is Pattern Pros, and then the website is patternprosusa.com. And so on either one of those social media accounts, very, very easy to get a hold of, unless I'm actually on a fire scene or helping somebody in the back of the ambulance. I'm usually easy to reach. And then if you scroll all the way to the bottom of the website, my phone number is on there. I am, again, very reachable. I love to talk to people, love to answer questions about all kinds of stuff on there. But yeah, any of those platforms, reach out to us. Anybody who's already bought from us, always love to hear back. Actually, about what shot best. I had a couple guys do that last week, and it's always cool to see what actually happens when they pull the trigger.
Well, I don't know. I don't know why my phone just keeps on saying just stop recording. Anyway, I know we haven't even talked about hunting or what the plan is for this hunting season, so we'll have to get you back on and talk about turkey
if
hunting.
I'm gonna come talk about hunting and drink whiskey with you guys, and any day of the week, let's do it.
Sounds good to me. We got to watch
tomorrow at 6:00, right? We'll do this again. Yeah.
we could
Hell,
probably definitely
let's
do
do
it. We got to go watch some USA baseball. Hopefully, win.
America.
Preach it. But I greatly appreciate you coming on, man. We've been talking about it for a while now. Finally found some time to do it, and I enjoy just learning more about the whole patterning system and I don't know what you guys got going on down there. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, boys. No, it was. It's always good. I know we talked about getting up there last year, and it seems like none of our schedules ever seem to work out. But I know I told you I had the one freaking awesome duck hunt here in South Carolina, and it was glorious. But I need to have that happen more than like once every like 3 years. So even if we just got to come up and shoot there in some big old honkers or hell, I don't care what we shoot.
We'll shoot some stuff. We'll make.
I'll
something.
make sure I stay clear because every time I come over and see Kyle and hunt, we don't shoot anything. So I won't come.
That's exactly what Christian said to me when we're gonna do this freaking turkey tournament here, and he's like, dude, we just never seem to kill anything one or the other. I said, all right, well, let's just not suck at turkey hunting for like 3 days. At least like do dumb birds and like go win this freaking thing. Like, let's just just not suck. That's all we got to do.
Yep.
So Trav's buddy came up. Just quick little rundown. Trav's buddy came up, or over on this side of the state, this waterfowl season. And the first time he did it, we didn't shoot like anything because Trav was here. But the second time, we had geese laying in the field while the trucks were still parked there. And that was just the whole telltale sign that we can't invite Trav no more.
Nope.
Well, way to go, Trav. You just ruined it for everybody else.
And I've done that. I did that multiple times this year. I had a buddy that had a loaded timber spot. He's like, there's birds everywhere in here. And so I'm like, sure, I'll come. And I went and
never again.
Never. Probably not going to get invited back again. So.
Well, before we sign off here or whatever they say, I got a discount code for you guys. So Great Lakes 10. That's been created.
Awesome.
Just give us a look, and we can help you out with whatever it is.
That'd be sweet, man. I greatly appreciate that, and I'm sure everybody on here greatly appreciates that. So, Brian, I greatly appreciate it. Stay on for a little bit after this. And everybody else, I appreciate you tuning in and I guess getting to know Ryan's company, the Pattern Pros, more, and go check those guys out. And I guess we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, boys.
See ya.
We'll see you guys.